Hi, hello. Welcome to the Warrior Stocks podcast, an Achaon.com production. My name is Max Beach, and let's get started. First off, welcome again to the first episode of the Warrior Stocks podcast. This is the first time that I have ever tried doing anything like this, and I'm pretty excited. Podcasting is, or just listening to podcasts is something I really enjoy, and to be on the other side of it is pretty exciting for me, especially right now. I'm in pre-employment, so I haven't started working yet after graduating, and this is kind of going to be what I do to fill up my time leading up to then. And hopefully once I start working, we can make this a weekly or more than once a week kind of thing. Just to get started again, for those who don't know what Achaon.com is, Achaon.com is my blog where I talk about stocks that I'm pretty interested in. I also have a book list on there just of the books that I've been reading. And the whole goal, or the original goal of Achaon.com, was to practice writing about stocks for mostly myself. I do, I probably made it really approachable in the beginning because I didn't really know a ton about stocks in the beginning. And so now, now that I've actually kind of learned a lot about equities and finance and investing in the accounting side of things, my posts have probably gotten too technical for a general audience. And so the whole goal with what I'm doing with the podcast thing and maybe the YouTube thing is I just want to create approachable content because when I started off 2 years ago learning about finance, I had no clue where to start. I was kind of all over the place. My family finance wasn't a big topic in my house. Like owning stocks was never a really big deal. Like I didn't know. I couldn't tell you more about the financial crisis than the next person a few years ago. And so I've learned a lot. It all kind of started with COVID, and when all that kind of broke out, I had nothing else to do, so I started listening to podcasts to kind of learn about econ and finance, and now I'm here 4 years later, and I'm about to start my career in finance and trading. So it's kind of a crazy turn of events. And getting back to kind of what I want to talk about is what this podcast is going to be. This podcast is going to be just me talking about what's going on in the market and hopefully explaining things in a way that anybody could understand. There will be times that I get a little technical, but then I'll probably explain it. And if I don't explain it, then it'll either be on you to kind of learn it on your own, or you could reach out to me via my Twitter, Instagram, and now a YouTube set up for achaon.com. And so that's kind of what it's going to be. I might talk about stock picks. I might talk about uh what's going on with the big names of the day, like Nvidia. I think I'm gonna do a episode about how I think you should stay the hell away from Nvidia if you don't know what you're doing. But that's, insert Amazon back in the bubble into that, or insert um Tesla a few years back. So just it I'm kind of digressing again, but I'm just going to talk about things that are going to be relevant to what's going on in the market. I'm also going to be talking about what I'm seeing, where I might see value, where I might start looking for new ideas. I might talk about stuff I'm working on for the blog. Like, for example, right now I'm looking at Toyota as as a car company that I like a lot more than US companies just because of debt being a lot cheaper in Japan, and there might be just an advantage just from that. Um, and so that's stuff that I could probably just talk about instead of just writing up right away. Uh, and that's going to be a lot of the content on here, but the my main goal is to create non-intimidating finance content, not with the intention of you getting rich quick. I think if you see anybody promising you an exorbitant amount of money really quickly because you just need to learn this one trick and it's the golden formula, don't believe it. They're probably a crook. Just stay away from them. They're just trying to make money off of YouTube. They do not give a shit about you. But here, I do care because I think that finance and understanding the way the world works and capitalism is quite freeing, and it's stuff that doesn't get taught in school for a reason, in my opinion, because it's pretty simple, but the ones that have really benefited from it don't necessarily want you to understand how simple it is. So by trying to simplify it even more, that is kind of the goal of the Warrior Stocks podcast. That is kind of the goal of what Achaon.com 2.0 is going to be, is just being way more audience friendly and more for you. All right. So if you're going to spend any time on my website, if you're going to spend any time listening to my voice, which you've probably already listened to a little too much, but I should probably introduce myself a little bit. Again, my name is Max Beach. I'm from Oak Park, Illinois. I'm 22. I just graduated from the University of Illinois. I studied econometrics and quantitative economics. But if I met you on the street, I would just tell you that I'm an econ major. And I was really involved with the Illinois Investment Management Academy, which I got started in 2 years ago, which kind of is the whole timeline of why I really got interested in this sort of thing. Um, and so I was involved with that. We managed real money. That's where I kind of learned how to talk about stocks, how I realized that you could make a living off of owning stocks. You could have a profession in the financial markets. I didn't even understand that coming into college. And so I was involved with that, but I actually wasn't in the business school. I didn't get in that way. So a lot of my finance knowledge has come from books, podcasts, and YouTube. And I just kind of want to add to that and help people who are just getting started with all that. Because it's pretty intimidating and there's a lot of different ways you can go. Kind of getting back to me though, you'll learn more about me throughout the podcast. I'll kind of do stories here and there, but I worked in Chicago my sophomore summer. I worked for an asset manager. And then my junior summer, I worked in New York on the sell side, equity research, learning about semiconductor companies like NVIDIA, AMD, Intel. Uh, for me as an investor, my the stocks I like the most are ones that have a value bias, but in recent times I've been a little bit more interested in growth stories, and we'll kind of get into stories I think next episode and kind of everything you should know going into owning a stock. I think that is a good place to start, especially talking about what's been going on today. Today, I'm recording this. It is Thursday, July 11th, 2024, and there's just a lot going on in the market. Uh, all right. Well, that's enough on me. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm going into trading, and so that's what I'm gonna start. I start working in about a month. The one thing I do want to note here before I kind of end this introductory episode is that my work and Achaon.com will always be completely separated. It's kind of nice. The nature of trading and investing are so different that I'll be looking at vastly different things, I'm assuming. And even if I'm looking at the same things, you will never know because I will never talk about what I'm doing at work. This is all like investing is a hobby for me. This is what I like to do in my free time. I constantly look for stocks. I like to write about stocks. It's just what I like to do. Um, so yeah, that's that. And I'll end it there because I don't want to take too much of your time when I'm just yapping about me and Achaon.com and this podcast. But over time, the meaning behind the podcast will become way more succinct as I realize how much or what you guys actually want to listen to or what gets the best feedback. And so what I say here today probably doesn't mean shit because it'll probably change next week. Um, but that's that. Again, thank you for your time. Continue to employ your curiosity, continue to do the research, and I hope you have a good day. If you want to learn more about Achaon.com, you can visit the website aion.com. If you want to stay updated regularly, you can also follow akayon.com. Dot is spelled out as DOT on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.